Welcome to St. Bonaventure, New York, and the St. Bonaventure A10 women's basketball season preview. I'm Nathan DeSutter, and pleased to have alongside with us today Bonnie's head coach, Jesse Fleming, now entering his third season at the helm of the Brown and White, now over a decade associated with the program. Coach, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, 2018-19 season starting in just a few weeks. What are your expectations for the program this season?
We're excited, very encouraged with our early returns with this squad. We've got a lot of athleticism. I think we're bigger. I think we're deeper. I think we've got a little bit more of a tenacity defensively, and that's been a big focus for us. Really pleased with where our buy-in is right now, and so we're starting in a good place as we officially get going with practice.
What have you done in the offseason to really change that, kind of up that level for the tenacity on defense?
Yeah, it was definitely the first thing that we addressed. You know, our defensive numbers, statistics, analytics, whatever you want to call them, just were, you know, lower half of the league, and that's something that that historically we've taken pride in to be a high-level defensive team. So we've really made a focus on cranking up the pressure. I think we've moved people around positionally wise where I think we're going to be able to play with more length at the guard spot. Some of the young kids that we've brought in have a little more athleticism. We've got some forwards that can really move and guard a couple different positions. So just physically and athletically, I think we're going to be better there. And then just more of the focus of, you know, that we want to get deflections. We want to be a ball pressure team, and it's our job as coaches to continually emphasize that's what's important to us. And I think that's come through early on.
And speaking of that youth, you have a nice mix this year of youth and then some senior leaders. What have the senior leaders done so far to kind of emphasize and help out that youth coming through the new system?
Yeah, I think it started in the summer with them of just, you know, McKenna's a four-year kid here for us and has always been a hard worker, and her confidence level has just built and built and built, and she had a really nice year last year. So she really came in and modeled the effort level that you need to compete at, both offensively and defensively. And I think everybody else kind of falls in line underneath with the example that they set.
You kind of talked about your seniors, but who else so far has stood out to you in preseason practices?
Yeah, I thought Emily Calabrese had a fantastic fall for us. Just her compete level, I think she's rebounding the basketball better. Obviously got a lot of experience last year. Played about 30 minutes a game as a freshman, and she's kind of been moving between the 4 and the 5 and really responded with a really nice fall. I think all the freshmen have brought different pieces to us. You know, Carrie Jordan brings some shooting and some size. Deja Francis and Asian Johnson bring some explosiveness, athleticism that we haven't had, and then Amanda Oliver's a junior college kid that we've brought in that is really just a complete 100% competitor. So I mean we've been really encouraged, and then Claudia from junior college down in Jacksonville is kind of bringing in some leadership, some experience at the point guard spot. So the young kids have been very good, and really there's nobody on the roster that I think has had a poor summer or fall. I think everybody's improved in different areas.
Now, your non-conference schedule, probably the most difficult that it's been during your time here at St. Bonaventure. What does that do to ready you for A10 play?
Yeah, it's on purpose. I mean, I feel like we've got a relatively experienced team, and we want to challenge them. We really do, and we're putting ourselves in some tough games because we want to be playing our best in the A10. I mean, that's the #1 goal of our program, is to be ready to play night in and night out in the A10, which we all know is just a tremendous league that you can't take a night off in. But you know, it starts right away with going up to Niagara in a Big 4 game is just like a conference game for us. You know, whether it's Buffalo, Canisius, or Niagara, those are worse, those games, and so it starts right away that we've got to be ready to go, and then we head right to Georgia, you know, to play that game. I mean, which is going to be possibly a top 25 team. We're heading down to Penn State to play. Yeah, we've intentionally made this a difficult schedule. We think we're going to be battle tested and ready to go for A10 play.
And what kind of lessons does that tough schedule kind of teach your newcomers? What does that kind of help them get involved with this program?
I just want them all to understand that you can't take a break, and that's the biggest thing. And we want to play teams that are going to expose our weaknesses. You know, we want to play all different kinds of teams. We want to play teams that, you know, slow it down and walk it up the floor. We want to play teams that want to play fast. We want to play, you know, super athletic, quick teams. We want to play big, physical, a Georgia big physical team like Georgia or Penn State. We want to expose any holes that we have in us so that we can fix it, so that our players can learn, and so that when we face all the great teams in the A-10, we're ready to go.
Now let's get into the A-10 a little bit. We know how difficult that is every single year, but what are the keys to success in the A-10 for you?
For us, like I said, I think we scored the ball pretty well. We were middle of the pack offensively last year, and the defense just wasn't where it needed to be. And for us to have a chance, George Washington, who made the tournament last year by winning the A-10 tournament, they were one of the best defensive teams in the league. And I think it's proven year in and year out that if you guard, you give yourself a chance to win in this league. And there's just a lot of offensive talent in this league, so you've got to be able to defend. Duquesne, who I think is going to be one of the top teams in the league, can put 5 players on the floor that can all score the ball. The same thing with Dayton, same thing with teams like St. Louis and even GW and teams like that. Like, you've got to be ready. If you make one breakdown defensively, if you don't pressure the ball, if you turn the ball over and give these teams, any team in this league, easy stuff in transition, you're going to struggle. So we've got to guard to be successful in this league.
Where is senior McKenna Maycock? And McKenna, you're entering your senior season this year. Talk about kind of a leadership role and how you help the newcomers into their first stretch of practices.
I would say I've taken more of a leadership role this year because I am a 4th-year senior, so I've experienced a lot here. I know what the practices are like, I know what games are like, so I think I'm using my knowledge to help out with the new players and show them what we're all about here.
From your perspective, how do you think the team looks this year? What are your expectations?
I think we look very good this year. I think we have a good mix of returners who know what they're doing, and then we have a lot of new talent. So I think put together, I think we should have a really good year because we have a lot of competitive players, and I think we're getting each other better every single day.
You asked Coach this same question, but who's really stood out to you? What stood out to you so far in preseason practices?
As I said just earlier, I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me was I was just super impressed with the new players. I didn't know that they were going to step in and be that good. So I think Coach and all of our teammates are really excited about the new talent we have and how we can bring it together and they can help us be successful this year.
We know the A-10 is always so competitive, but what do you guys have to do to really progress into the A-10 tournament this March?
I think to progress in the A-10 tournament this March, I think we need to come together as a team, and as long as we're all focused on the same goal and we try our hardest every day and bring that same energy into practice, it'll transfer over to the games, and I think we should be able to make a run this year in the tournament in March.
So Bree, now that you're a couple weeks into practice, kind of tell me how the team is coming together so far.
When we first initially got here, we kind of all were individuals with, different kinds of talents. And then now that practices have progressed and we worked on live play, you definitely could say we're working more as a unit. So I'm looking forward to see how we actually will do against teams in the A-10.
Anybody specifically that's kind of jumped out to you, impressed you so far?
I would definitely have to say our point guards, just because, with Mariah Ruff leaving, those are pretty big shoes to fill. So we're definitely expecting a lot from them, especially in terms of leading on the court. So we'll see how that goes.
I know you guys had some problems with depth due to injuries, you personally as well. I mean, how do you overcome that from last year, kind of take the momentum in from last year, and what does that change for you guys this year as well?
Well, this year has been a lot different just because we went through something as intense as we did. But we've been focusing on prevention because we just don't want that kind of situation to ever happen again. With that being said, injuries, happen. It's a part of the game, but we're looking forward to just hopefully, getting past those and working with what we have.
I mean, how good does it feel for you personally coming back from an injury and kind of finally getting a full season under your belt this year?
I'm definitely excited, yes. A little anxious, a little nervous, but overall mostly excited. I'm looking forward to leading my team, helping them. We want to have a successful year, so I want to be able to do anything I can to help us do that.
How's it going to feel kind of running out for your first game?
Overwhelming, yep, but I think once the game starts, it'll just be like it was last year.
You're kind of stepping into a leadership role this year. What changes for you?
Well, like me and Coach we've been talking a lot, and just holding myself to a higher standard than everyone else, defensively especially. I would say I'm more of the rock player on our team. Without me, I feel like sometimes we're missing certain units. So I definitely just want to be consistent this year, and that's my #1 goal, is being consistent and at a high level.
You have a very tough schedule this year. You have Georgia, non-conference, and always the A-10 difficult, but kind of what are you looking forward to that schedule, and what are the challenges of that schedule?
I definitely think that schedule will help us prepare for the A-10 play. A lot of times last year was, late game situations, and we weren't able to convert like we wanted to, but preparing ourselves with those tough teams will allow us to do so.